So it's been a little while since my last update video, and I wanted to go over some of the new mechanics and just have a little bit of fun exploring the new options. So let's just get to it. And welcome to my workshop. I do want to go over the new quenching system, as it is quite a bit different than what it used to be, and is pretty easy to get going as long as you know what you're doing. So let's get into it. The forge itself did get a remodel, and I must say it looks pretty great, and it works mostly the same. However, they added bellows, which allows us to pump up the heat. And the reason why that matters is because we gotta quench our tools now. Now, I did go ahead and get every single kind of tool down here, and yes, all of them are quenchable. Well, there will be anyway. Some of them are bugged out right now. However, the majority of them do work, and I expect them to fix the rest in the future. So to start it off, you're gonna need to make a forge. It is exactly the same as they used to be. But they did add 3 bellows, this being the first one, the crude hide bellows. It does require a bear pelt and some rope and sticks. The second one is the small bellows. This one requires you to get leather and some nails and strips. Luckily, we're able to use copper nails and strips, so it is quite cheap still. The third one being the large bellows, and it does still require some leather, and you can also make it with copper nails and strips. So we're gonna go and use the crude hide real quick, and we're gonna get a quench up and going. First, we're gonna drop some coal into the forge, then we're gonna light it up, and now we have a choice to make. Do we want durability or do we want power? So the way to choose it is if you place your axe head into the forge, or any other tool for that matter, it will get power once we quench it. However, if we take it back out, put it into our crafting grid, drop some fire clay, and now it covers it in clay. And yes, it does have to be fire clay. None of the others work. So I am going to cover it real quick, and then I'm going to drop it into our forge. We need to let it heat up. Now, you can see here that the temperature did stop at 700 C, and that's why we need the bellows. If we keep right clicking it, you can see that the temperature will rise. And if we take the axe out real quick, you can see that it is quenchable at 815 to 1050, and it's temperable to 550 to 700. We're trying to quench it first, so we're just going to get it a little bit hotter. I'm going to try to get it as close as I can to 1050. And to do that, we're just going to have to keep hitting the bellows and then keep checking. I really do wish there was a way to keep an eye on the temperature while looking at the bellows. It's not a big deal. However, it would have been a nice little quality of life thing. Either way, we got it hot enough. It's 969, so we're just gonna pick it up, and then we're gonna run over to some water. Now, you could have it in a barrel. However, I have an infinite water source over here, so that's what I'm gonna use. So I'm just gonna hold right click on it. Once it's done, we can have a look at it, and now it got plus 20% durability, and you can see how many times you've quenched it, and each time you quench it, the shatter chance will rise. Right now it's 10%, and it's possible it might break. We should be able to temper it now, and the way that we do that is we drop it back into the forge, and we gotta get it back up to temperature with the bellows and the forge. This time we're aiming for a different temperature entirely. If we look at this, tempering is done to 550 C to 700 C. So we don't need to get it as hot. We're just going to raise it up to that level. And there we go. It's going to keep going. So let's take it out. We're going to come over here to the water and let's right click it. Now, unfortunately, it didn't do anything for me. I'm mostly sure I did everything right. Or maybe there's a cap at 10%, I'm not sure. But what tempering does is it will lower the shatter chance, which is really good because if we keep trying to quench it, it will raise it. So that being said, I either did something wrong here, which I don't think I did, or it happens to be a bug or something like that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. It works pretty much the same for all the tools. These are the tools that I couldn't get going, but I do think that they're going to fix it in the future. But either way, it was pretty easy to do, and I can't wait to get quenching when this is fully stable, because this is truly awesome. Now, another thing I should mention about the blacksmithing, it doesn't exactly have to do with quenching, but there is new tongs, and these are made out of metal. But yeah, there is a new set of tongs for every tier of metal, and now they have durability. So you're going to want to ditch the wooden tongs as quick as possible. Now, the next thing that I got to show you guys is the grinding wheel. Now, what this allows us to do is connect it up with the source of power, in this case being my windmill. And what it allows us to do is go up to the grinding wheel, shift right click it, and we'll hold it against it as it sharpens our blade. I'm just going to do this for a little bit and make sure it's nice and sharp. It'll stop itself, and now it gets a plus 10% critical hit chance. It also did shave off some durability. However, it's not enough for me to really care about. And if we go up to it, you can see it's not all that expensive. You'll just take an axle, some nails and strips, a hammer and saw, and the grindstone, which is very cheap on its own. So yeah, if you have some source of power, I don't see any reason why not to do this. It's just some extra damage for your sword, and I'd definitely say it's worth it. Vintage story windmills have been changed, and they work a little bit different than they used to. This is what I had on the last update. They're pretty close to each other. However, they didn't create any problems in the past. But if we go up to this right here, you can see that it is too close to the other, and the power output has been reduced by 50%. That is simply because this one right here is now too close to this one. So what I think they're really trying to do is limit the power output and trying to force you to go into the water wheel. Or maybe just have separate windmill buildings a little bit apart from each other. Either way, people are going to have to adapt or create some seriously large windmills, which I'm up for the challenge. Now, something that we can do to mitigate this a little bit, because say we want to have one windmill here and we remove this entirely, is we can remove our windmills as we had them, and then we're going to replace the rotor with a metal rotor hub. The metal windmill rotor is quite expensive. You can make it out of a bunch of different metals, and the cheapest one being iron. It's going to require a bunch of metal rods and some new heavy iron brackets. This you can just hammer out with 2 ingots on the anvil, and the large sails that go with it require a bunch of linen and just a little bit of wood. This will allow us to place some large windmills on it, and yeah, they are definitely gigantic, and now my windmill seems a little bit out of balance. Now I do got to show you guys something crazy here. Right now, this is completely operational and it has no turbulence whatsoever. However, if we go all the way over here, place a rotor back onto this one and then fill it with sails, and then we go back to this one right here, you can see it's got turbulence from that windmill all the way over there. Like I said, I really think they're trying to limit us here, and they're trying to make it difficult to get a really fast health hammer up. And not to mention the water wheels. But there is one more thing that we need to talk about here, is that the connections itself can catch on fire. Fortunately, none of the gears in my world are having this issue, so I got really lucky here, and I thought I was going to have issues, but if I come down here, you can see everything's still spinning, and I have so many different gear conversions as well, because we got the windmills that connect up with these gears, and I did the same thing on the exact other side. Then I have it connect up with this right here, and it goes down and then connects up with these. I feel like I have enough conversions here, and I expected some issues, especially with stuff like this, which it looks like it's going pretty quick. But if I keep doing this, then yeah, it would start to cause some issues. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, especially with the new turbulence changes. It's going to be pretty difficult to get your things to go that quickly, but I'm sure plenty of us will make it happen anyway. So now we're going to try to make some water wheels. They made it a lot harder to get power, so we're going to want to learn this. So the first thing that you're going to need to know is that you need to find some rapid water. Now, I did replace my water over here, this right here being still water, and this being rapid water, which that is a very big difference, and this is what you're gonna be looking for. And right now it's very buggy looking. I don't have any mods that would be affecting this in any way. However, I think it would be fixed by the time it's stable, or maybe it's a feature. I'm not sure. I don't think it should be flashing though. That's just me. Either way, you're gonna want to find some rapid waters. I don't know if they're gonna allow you to relocate it. We might all have to be looking for rivers and stuff. I'm not exactly sure. However, once you find it, it will look like the stuff behind me, and finally we can start to work on a water wheel. So because I have it up here, this is where I'm going to build it. So to start it off, we're going to need a small water wheel. This is going to require some 4-way iron hubs. That requires you to hammer out a ton of metal on the anvil. And also, if you're crazy, you can do this with steel as well as meteoric iron. But once you have it, you need to find yourself some rapid water. And we need to place it directly 1 block above it. So I'm just going to bring this out. I'm going to place it here, and then I'm going to remove the dirt. Now you can see it's telling us exactly what we need, and if you right click it without the items, it will even tell you with some text on the bottom of your screen. Right now we need some support beams. I'm going to be using Kapok, and the reason why I'm pointing that out is because you're going to want to stick with one kind of tree. You can't be mixing oak with Kapok, nothing like that. So first of all, it does want some support beams, then it wants some resin and boards, then some resin with support beams, 8 nails and strips, copper works just fine, then to top it off with some resin and boards, and then we can right click it to launch, and you can see how it's not working right here, simply because this became still water because it's all filled in. But if I had placed it above this right here, then it would be. Now the way I'm going to get around this is by just removing some of this water and then creating my own little river. But I wanted to show you guys that, because if you place it in the wrong place, then you're going to get screwed. So I got some rapid water. We're just going to drop it under it. Now it says suitable block source nearby, 1. We can add some more, and now we got 3, and you can see it's starting to turn. Now the way that we extract power from it is just by using an axle on the side, and just like a windmill, it's going to start turning it, and it's ready to be used. But also, I do gotta mention that if you're gonna do this on a stream and not on some random cliff like me right here, if this was a stream, the water would slow down underneath it, so you can only have one of these on one singular stream. So now we gotta talk about berry bushes, as they have received a massive change and is gonna throw so many people off. So to start it off, a ton of them have been redesigned, and they look quite a bit different. These are all wild, and these are ones that I have planted. because we can no longer just walk up to it and break it and then go place it somewhere else. You gotta go up to it with a knife and then shift right click it and you'll get a seed. Now you need to go and plant this seed on top of a medium soil and up block, and over time this will grow into a full bush like these. Now these are also really cool because you can get seeds from your own plants as well. However, you can only get one per year. Now they also have nutrient levels, just like all the other crops in the game. It is something that we're gonna have to worry about, so perhaps getting better soil is a good idea. And of course we can always fertilize it, and it accepts all 4 kinds. So bone meal, potash, saltpeter, and compost. So yeah, berries just got a lot more interesting, and I don't think it's going to be all that big of a deal. And honestly, I think it's really cool to nerf some of the early game foods and kind of extend the survival bit of this game. I've always said this is an amazing survival game. It kind of drops the whole survival part after the first winter, because by then you could probably farm up like 5 years of food already. So it's really cool to see stuff like this and give us a little bit more of a challenge. But it's not like they remove berries. They're still here. It's still pretty easy food, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So let's get into fishing. This is one that I was actually super excited for, and I'm ready to start my fishing journey. So what they did is add a simple fishing pole. This is super cheap to make, just some rope and sticks, and it'll turn into a fishing pole. Now you take the pole and put it into your crafting grid, then you put whatever bait you want to add to it, which we will talk about in a second. But this is how you add it to the rod. And now we got a fishing rod with a dead worm on it. We hold right click to cast it, and once you let it go, you can hold right click again to pull it back in. Don't worry, we're gonna go test it on water. I'm just showing you the mechanics. But let's talk about the bait first. So starting off, we have some bait that you can cook up. This one right here, the bushmeat stink bait, requires you to cook it up in a pot, some fennel or licorice root, along with some water in your meat, and that will give you 6 bait. But there is a couple more kinds, like dough stink baits. You use bread along with the roots or fennel, and there's even one for red meat. However, they gave us another option, and I must say it's going to be the one that I choose, not only because it's easier, but because it's so cool. And for that, we're going to need the worm grunting stick. To craft it super cheap, we just need a knife and a stick. Then you need a stick in your offhand. You go up to a patch of grass, hold shift right click on it, and with a little bit of luck, we'll start to see some worms pop out. And there we go, there's a worm. You can go and just right click it, and now we got an extra dead worm. So after all that, let's go test it out. So now I'm over by my outpost, and I made it to this pond. We can actually see the fish right there. So I'm gonna hold right click, and I'm gonna cast it. And let's see, does he go for it? I think he is. He's kind of bobbing near it, but he kind of left it alone, and now he's leaving. Okay, so some bubbles popped up, and we right-click it to pull it in, and there we go. We got a dead silver salmon, and it's fresh for 2 days. I'm going to go ahead and drop it real quick. I'm going to take out my knife, and I'm going to shift right-click it. And there we go. Now we got 5 raw fish from that. And there's also some bones we can pick up. The bones can be turned into bone meal, which we can use as a fertilizer. And now we're back to the berries. So yeah, fishing seems like it might be awesome. And the only reason why I say might, because you can't deplete an entire pond. So depending on your situation, you might run out of fish. So I don't know how long term this is going to be. However, it was cheap. It definitely will be worth looking into for early game. A while back, I did do like 10 hours of panning, and that was a fun little video. So if you guys want to see something like that for fishing, you know, maybe leave a comment, maybe leave a like, and you know, it might just happen. Just putting that out there. So the next thing I did want to show off real quick is that a lot of the traders have gone a complete overhaul, and they look so awesome. Also, look how tiny they are. Like, jeez. I didn't expect that. So yeah, here they are. They look insanely cool. I just threw down a whole bunch. There's a lot more too. So expect to see some really cool traders out here and a lot of variety to them. But okay, I think we're done for now. It's been a lot of fun exploring a bunch of these changes, and fully expect some more detailed guides coming soon. I'm gonna wait for it to become stable before I dive into them and make some proper guides for you guys, as I expect a lot to be changed anyway. Plus, there's a lot of bugs right now. But I can't tell you guys how excited I am for this, and I hope they drop the stable version soon, because as soon as it does, I'm gonna get back to the grind, and a new journey awaits. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you next time.